Today, guys, we have the Team Corally Sketer. This is a 1/10 scale 4S monster truck. And we are on this video going to be here for a while, guys. So I'm not only going to do an overview, what we're also going to do is a comparison with quite a few different RCs that we have in our collection. So you guys can get somewhat of a size comparisons of the Sketer. I want you guys to get a full idea of what the Sketer is going to be when you first get it and what that size is going to look like. So we got this truck from HRP, but as you know, guys, I'm always trying to tell you where to find the best deals out there on the internet or locally around my area. And I have to say, checking out Chicagoland RC, he actually has them at the time of this video for 10% off the price of this truck. So for $489, you're getting 10% off that price. And that's a pretty good deal, guys. I will have a link to their website down below. You get an antenna tubing and a bind plug to bind the receiver and the transmitter if you ever got them unbound. You get the owner's manual for the CT2R controller. This goes through some setups of the controller and what batteries it would take, setups with the receiver, checking out the car in regards to forward, reverse, left and right, and then once again binding it up and the fail-safe of this vehicle. What you also get is the instruction manual for the ESC, and this goes through pretty much everything that you're going to need for this. It talks about the voltage, get access to your ESC to set it up. This is also accessible if you have a programming card. You can change these settings with a programming card, but that does not come with the RC. That is an item that you need to purchase on your own. And then it goes through the LED status and once again, setting up and troubleshooting through the ESC. And then you get the quick start guide for the Sketer. And this, guys, is pretty extensive. I've gone through this with my 2021 Radix 6, the Kronos 2021, and also with the Jambo 2021. I've gone through all of these guides before. If you do not like the black and white guide that you get with the RC, you can definitely go on the site and you can see the color version of all of the illustrations in this manual. But it is pretty extensive. Goes through setting up your shock fluid. I will say, guys, just looking at this for the first time, it does look like the printing on this is a lot more clearer than what we got on the 2021. These are visual, and I have to say is that the illustrations before were very dark on the 2021 one, but this seems like it's this is the blowout of the RC. You get to see how everything is put together, the part numbers that are associated with everything that's in here, and a full listing of all the parts that are used in the Sketer. And we get the CT2R, guys, and this is a new controller to the Team Corally lineup. For 2021, we had received a different controller, and I'll show you guys what that looks like later on in the video. But this one does not feel bad in the hand, and it is extremely easy to drive it one-handed if you guys are planning to do that. We have all of our trims and our settings that are in here. So you have the reverse for steering and for throttle. You have your steering trim, your throttle trim, your steering dual rate, your on-off switch. Everything is listed right here for you. And it looks like if you have a rechargeable battery system, it does have a charge port listed right here on the other side of the controller. But this is a 2-channel controller. This only has throttle and steering for it. There are no third channels that are associated with it. It takes 4 AA's, and I was telling you guys, if you have a rechargeable pack, you can put a rechargeable pack in here and charge it off of the controller. But it feels good in the hand. I'm going to see how this operates in regards to range. I didn't have any issues with the original controller, which I will show you guys what that looks like compared to this one. But I like how this one feels. It does feel pretty premium. And this is the old transmitter from the Radix 6. This is my Radix 6 2021 version. The foam wheel has your trim settings up here at the top, your on-off switch up here at the top. You have your reverse switches right here, your bind switch right here. Has a nice rubberized grip here on the rear. Throttle feels very light compared to what I was feeling before. Foam wheel can be driven with one hand, but I think the other one drives a little bit better with one hand. You have your steering dual weight up here in the front, takes 4 AA's. But that's what the old transmitter looked like. And had a nice little carrying handle that was on this too as well. And here we are with the new one. And I actually like how this throttle feels. And there's the one-handedness with it. Let's bring them both in, and there we are, guys. So this is what we got in 2021, and let's see if this is what 2022 brings us. As of right now, the Sketer is the only RTR that has been released at the timing of this video for 2022. Let's see what the other ones come out, if it's going to be also the CT2R, or if we're going to start seeing more of the S2Rs back for this. But I did like this controller. It felt really good in the hand, and the range was really good. Let's see how the CT2R performs, but I definitely got to say, I like how this one feels. Just wish it had the rubberized grip on the rear. The throttle feels a lot better on this one. But here we are, guys. The reason why we came to the video to see is the Sketer. And this truck, as I stated before, this is a 1/10 scale monster truck. And let's just go through the body first, because I think this is probably one of the most controversial parts of the truck more than anything else. I know a lot of guys have been commenting on social media and everywhere else of what this body looks like, how they think it looks, they like it, they don't like it. I actually don't mind it, guys, but I will say this, I will be swapping this body out. You guys will see later on one of the bodies that I plan on using on this. I also plan on doing some mods with this body to kind of make it a little bit different than what it looks like today. Yeah, I actually don't mind it so much. The plastic is a pretty good weight to it. We have the attached body pins on this truck, and they are angled, so you're able to pull them out. I would strongly suggest, because of the weight of these tethers, that you pull it from the pin. Do never pull them from the tabs themselves. I pull mine from the pin. I did have some issues with the 2021 ones where this connected to the pin did pull off. We have a slogan here from Team Corally, push your limits, and we'll definitely try to be doing that, at least for my skill level, on this truck. So this is a ready-to-run truck. It is 4-wheel drive with 3 differentials. So you have a front, center, and rear differential on this truck. This truck is 3S and 4S capable, but here we are, guys, with the Sketer. And let's go to this truck from front to back and just walk through what we are seeing here, because this truck has a lot going on. So in the front of we have this dual bumper system. There is the top bumper, which is mounted with 3 screws, and then we have the under bumper, which is part of the skid plate. I'm seeing where the top bumper doesn't seem like it's reinforced, other than the 3 screws that are attached to another support for the bulkhead. So the bulkhead itself has all of this protection going on in the front. Then that is paired up with these beefy suspension arms. I'm looking at the rod ends, and these rod ends definitely look a lot more beefier than the previous rod ends that were in all of the 2021 lineup. The steering blocks on this are the HD steering blocks. These are beefed up compared to the 2021 lineup. Spring steel outdrives going to a CVD-like drive shaft in the front. I know a lot of people throw around the terminology of spring steel without actually stating what it is. So I've seen folks say, hey, did they just color it differently and it's the same steel as before? No, that is not the case. So spring steel is actually an alloy metal that allows itself to bend and move, but yet it conforms back to its original shape. Unlike the normal steel outdrives that we would get with most trucks, and you guys have been through this before, where they would spread and, basically split when you're putting load against them, these are stronger. They give the ability to conform and move that like we want them to, but yet it still withholds its shape so that we are not getting those breakages that we were getting on other vehicles. I will say that on my 2021 lineup of Team Corally, I never broke an outdrive cut. I never broke a drive shaft. I never bent a drive shaft. So I've never had those issues with the previous Team Corallys. But it's good to see that they are stepping their game up, even on this truck, a new truck to the lineup. Big beefy 16mm big bore shocks, and those are aluminum shock bodies with a screw down adjustable shock collar on there with HD springs attached to them. There is also a shock protector up at the top, and this is attached to a 5mm, and I am saying that correctly, a 5mm shock tower, guys. And those shocks have 3 adjustments on the top with 2 adjustments down on the suspension arm. We also have a sway bar going on in the front of this truck. Adjustments in the front of the truck for camber and tow. There is adjustable steering links up in the front. And in this truck we have a 775 3mm dual deck steering Arrma system. And this is insane because you normally don't see it in trucks at this price point. There is an adjustable servo saver on this truck with an aluminum servo horn on this truck as well. 775 Hingeman braces going on in the front of this truck. I mean, it is just beefed up beyond. The outdrive cup to the front differential is also on spring steel. Coming back to that is another dog bone, and then that's going to the center differential, which is also spring steel for the center differential. And then coming out to the rear, we have spring steel coming off of the rear differential, and then for the outdrives to the dog bones for the rear. I mean, guys, there's just so much beef going on. We have camber adjustments in the rear, and there's also a sway bar to the rear of the truck as well. Coming off to the rear, we have an adjustable wheelie bar, and it looks like there's 5 positions to adjust it. The wheel on the wheelie bar is ball bearings, so it has a nice smooth feel to it. The body mount system is adjustable. There are adjustments that are there. At this time I'm looking at them, the rear looks like it's at its lowest adjustment possible. The front looks like it could be at the 2nd or the 3rd adjustment possible. Bracing in the front. So we got almost like a dual bracing going on in the front of this truck. And then that leads to the tower, almost the tower to tower center brace. So what it actually has is a brace coming from the front shock tower. Then it comes down to the differential case housing. And then there's another brace that goes from the differential case housing back to the rear of the truck shock tower. And then there's another brace that goes from the rear shock tower to the upper part of the center brace. This is insane, guys. That's all I gotta say. This is an insane amount of bracing. And then if that's not enough, the body itself has this thick, dense foam sitting on top of it with this body support mount underneath. I cannot say any more about this truck and its support. And it comes with a Curon 725 4-pole 2150 kV sensorless motor. There is a mount in the rear for a fan, and that is capable of blowing air on the motor from the rear. And we have a metal motor mount that's attached to that Curon 725 motor. And that is paired with the Torox 135 sensorless ESC waterproof 120 amp 2S to 4S LiPo capable, which does have a high voltage BEC already connected up with this. And then coming off of the ESC, we have XT90 Connect. The servo, we have a CRHV 7225 high voltage digital servo, and the torque is 25 kilograms, and it's all metal gear. Massive mud guards on the sides of this truck. It looks like about a 3mm chassis that is on this truck. We have front and rear droops adjustable on this truck as well, and the droop screws are already mounted on the truck. We have that bumper and skid plate combo going on in the front, and the screws, they have a anodized retainer in them as well. And then in the back, there is another skid plate with a rear bumper on there, and that is also attached with anodized retainers with the screws. It's just not only is it a beefy truck, guys, but it is so beautiful to look at, this chassis. Batteries in this battery tray will be held down by Velcro. As for these tires, guys, these tires are pretty firm. They look like they would handle up to a decent amount of speed to them. Sidewall feels a little forgiving, but it is definitely a nice firm tire to them. And these tires are mounted to 17mm hex adapters with a little bit of an offset coming off of these wheels. I truly like what I'm seeing. I honestly truly like what I'm seeing with this truck. There's just enough anodizing going on to give it the bling. We have the beef and girth of all the parts that are used here, the bracing that's used all over this truck, that heavy duty center differential with a steel aluminum case, all metal gear differentials, rubber sealed ball bearings throughout, and the bumper can handle LED lighting in there. So you can take the light mount off of the front and mount LEDs to this bumper. Looks like I will have to inspect my rear shocks. I am seeing a little bit of shock fluid on the shock caps and on those shock protectors. So I'm gonna have to inspect my rear shocks because I do see a little bit of fluid going on, a little bit of spillage of fluid going on in the rear, and I'll have to inspect and see what's going on with that. This is just primarily a size comparison. I'm not comparing these two trucks in regards to their performance and what they have in them. I'm just comparing them in regards to size, proportions, so you guys get a better idea of actually what is the size of a Sketer. We have the Team Corally Sketer, and then over here we have the Arrma Big Rock Crew Cab. This Big Rock Crew Cab is not in its original state. I've done some modifications to widen this truck, and it's also not running the stock wheels and tires on here, so it does give it a slightly wider stance. This is just slightly wider than the latest Arrma Big Rock Crew Cab. Just slightly, it's not much, but it is a wider setup that I got running on this truck. I'm also not running the stock shocks, so the truck may sit a little bit lower than what you're typically used to seeing. But so I'll just definitely take that into consideration when you're looking at the ride height of the truck, and also when you're looking at the width of the Big Rock Crew Cab compared to the Team Corally Sketer. Here we are, guys, with the two trucks. As you guys can see, the wheelbases of these two trucks are pretty much spot on. I'm gonna give you guys another angle so you can see what they look like compared to the width. Now I'm trying to give you guys a better angle in regards to the width of the two trucks. I have the inners of this side of the trucks lined up as best as I can, that they're right spot on. And then this side is where you're going to see that there is a slight bit of width extension on the Team Corally Sketer. So the Team Corally Sketer is even wider than my modified Big Rock Crew Cab. So you guys are able to see that. And just to give you an idea of how wide this truck is in its stock form. And it's just going to give the additional stability to it, because I'll tell you this, my Big Rock Crew Cab, once I widen this truck compared to its stock form, has improved its performance immensely. Now, the latest version of the Big Rock Crew Cab, they did widen it out, so you do sense that stability that you're getting with it. But just to let you know, as I stated before, this is even slightly wider than the Big Rock Crew Cab that's out right now. The Sketer, and over here we have the 2021 Radix 6. And I brought these out so you guys can see what the wheelbases are between the two trucks, because this is pretty much what we have here in regards to the Sketer for its platform. So it's based on a buggy style chassis wheelbase, and wanted you guys to get a better sense of that with the Radix 6. Even though it is a 6S rated, it is 1/8, but you guys can get a better sense of what the size is of this truck. As you guys can see, the wheelbases are about the same. I'm going to put the two RCs on top of each other so you get a better idea of what the width is looking like. I want you guys to look at the inner parts of the two tires, and that's where I have them lined up, and they are spot on, guys. So you guys are sensing now that this is the same width of a 1/8 scale Team Corally buggy, and the Team Corally buggies are basically a standard 1/8 scale buggy. So you guys are getting a better sense of the size of a Sketer, and the inners are matched up perfectly, and we're looking at about the same size on the two vehicles. And that's the wheelbase, guys. That's the wheelbase between the two cars, and you can see they are very close, if not spot on, to when it comes to the wheelbases of the two vehicles. Now this is probably the one that you guys really wanted to see, was the Sketer and the Maxx, the Traxxas Maxx. And I gotta be honest guys, the Traxxas Maxx is a longer wheelbase truck. We'll see what the widths look like, but I'm pretty sure the Traxxas Maxx is also gonna be a wider truck. It's not as big as the new Traxxas Maxx. And there we are. We have the Traxxas Maxx down below, Sketer above. I have the inner parts of the tires matched up in the front. And yeah, it's just a wider truck when we're talking about the Traxxas Maxx. The Traxxas Maxx is, no question, a bigger truck than the Sketer. It's wider, it's longer. It's, you know, the second one is just a little bit, it's just a bigger truck than it. This probably compares more when it comes to size to the original Maxx without the wide kit on it. I don't have an original Maxx without the wide kit. My version that I have of the first Maxx also has the wide kit that you would see on here. So that's why I brought out the V2 instead of bringing out my original Maxx. But for the lengths, it's probably going to be closer to the original Maxx. And the width is going to be what the stock form of the original Maxx came in. But we're going to leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get the latest updates when we release our videos. Check us out on Instagram for the latest posts to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.